Hey everyone, Anthony Morgan's Training Academy. Today's about training knives. If you go out and you have to buy a good training knife, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Now, like Spyderco has great training knives. Benchmade has great training knives. Most everybody that makes the real knives has great training knives. Now, you have to find a knife that is comfortable for you and that fits you well. Take this one here. It's just a cheap knife, okay? Now, I ground the edge down here, okay? I ground it down. You can use a file, you can use sandpaper. Just takes a little time. I took the tip off of it. And it's a training knife now. Now, it does have a clip so I can carry it, but it is functional and it does work. And the thing of it is, it's like a $5 knife, okay? And so, you're not gonna cut anybody. You're not gonna, and if you're, training with somebody, sure, you could go out and spend a couple $100 on a good training knife, but why? Okay, to me, it's kind of, unless you're trying to look cool around all your friends that are carrying the cool knives. But me, I'm thinking saving money, taking something like this, grinding it down, and taking the edge off of it, and it's a great training knife. Now, my butterfly knife that I've been using for years and years, I did the same thing for it. Butterfly knives, before trainers came up, that's what we would do, is just grind that edge down and make it to where it's not cut, and it still works fine. You're not going to cut yourself. But, I've had this one about 20 years, and it is wobbly, but it didn't cost me a lot of money, okay? And that's kind of the main thing that, I'm wanting to kind of get across to you guys, This one, I used it for years and years, out training. Again, I ground the edge, but it was kind of a cool knife. I haven't used it a lot in years, but I used it for, probably 10 years of all my training camps and all my studies in the Philippines, martial arts. But I did grind the edge, I took the tip off of it, and it's a great knife for training. Now, you can find all kinds of cool, cheap knives out there that don't cost you anything, and just take a grinder and grind the edge off of them. Now, if you get a little bit more industrious, this used to be a tennis racket, okay? And so I took, and this had the arm that came up like that, and then there was a tennis racket. So I just took it to my bandsaw and I cut it down and made a training knife out of it. It works well. You'd never know that it was a tennis racket. But, with the wrapped handle, just and it's Baltic birch, it's the layered, that they use on tennis rackets. But just kind of looking at that. This one here is something you'd buy in the Bahamas, that looked like a knife. But I took it back to my shop and I ground it down. I made a couple little modifications to it. And it makes a really good training knife. I just keep it here for the guys to use all the time when they don't have a knife. But I rounded the tip, ground this off, and makes a great training knife. This one's a little bit step up, okay? Now, this one has the antler handle on it, which is cool. Hand-carved guard, and it will work, okay? It's got a little bit of more fancy, but it's just a piece of wood with an antler handle. And you've got a great knife. Now, this one's pinned, so there's a pin that goes through there that holds the handle onto the piece of wood. And if you break it, you're not out a lot of money. If you lose it, you're not out a lot of money. But my point to all you guys is build your equipment. My karambits that I keep in here. Okay, this is a karambit. It works really well. It's very functional. It's made out of cutting boards. Get a design that you like, and make them, cut them out. It's cheap, okay, and especially as hard as money is to come by. Make your equipment, make your training knives, and like I said, there's a big variety, of if you can find anything that's cutting board, okay? get into, if I can get this out of here. Crash. So, baseball bat. I cut a groove in it, put the piece of aluminum, makes a great sai. Okay, didn't cost me anything. Okay, a little tiny axe, a little piece of aluminum. You can use iron. Okay, you can use anything. You can use a piece of wood. I just split it down the center and put some wooden pins through. I didn't use metal. Wooden pins. Did some burning on it. Makes a great little axe. So, build your training equipment, and you can build it cheap. If you're out and about shopping around and you find a knife that looks really cool. Butterfly knives, you can pick them up, at yard sales and stuff like that for $6-7. Take them home, grind off the edge on them. They'll make a perfect trainer. And so don't waste the money. Sure, if you have the money, but the money that it costs you to spend a couple $100 to carry a knife that looks just like the one you carry, well, that has, how would I say it? An importance there, but a lot of times just having knives that, especially if you're teaching, I can't supply Benchmates to everyone in here, okay? And I wouldn't do that anyway, because to me that's a waste of money when there's better ways I can invest my money. So, so just think about that. Find a really cool knife, and this is a Pakistan. I used it for, like I said, years and years. Great knife. Okay, great training knife. Okay, and you need to have all kinds of training knives. Get you a bag and to carry all your sticks and swords in, and but build your equipment. Okay, and like I said, I hope this that helped you to see how a file. If you have just a file, take the edge off. Okay. Take that tip off. You got a great training knife for cheap, $5. You can find these all day long, $5. You don't have to have a sheath for it. You just throw it in a box in your training area. So build more equipment, okay? And thank you guys for subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.